Welcome to the half-assed heresy. Now that the board is out of the way, get on with my next project. As voted for by the lovely people on Paint Hub Facebook page, I'm going for the Lord of Contagion and his little squad. This will be the first time I try a diorama. Got a charity shop find. I've got 3 of these. Frame, that's just pound shop primer. And I'm going to build something up on there, a Nurgle scene, perhaps some sort of Nurgle graveyard. Got my spares out. Got these unlucky marines that could come to some sticky end. I know a lot of people have used the barrels for goo and whatnot, so I like the idea of using that. So that will be my base. Haven't used any of these technical type paint, so I'll look forward to putting Nurgle's rot on especially. So early doors we'll be planning, fitting the 5 marines on here with some sort of doomed marines, and I'm planning to use magnets. And I've seen a lot of people do a base where they're removable, so you do the base to match the rest of the diorama, but you can lift them off if need be. Maybe use magnets or completely bypass the bases and see if I can fit magnets in the feet or something. I don't know, but that's the project I'm on. It's going to take a while, I reckon. So this is the first intro bit of my video, and that's where we are. I've dug into my spares. Nurglings, I mean, they're always fun, and I found an already painted bolt pistol. I thought that might look quite cool in this Nigel the Nurgling's hand, perhaps. I don't know. Already time to be thinking, and I'll see you on the next bit. I'll video some of my ideas as we go along. I like the idea of converting his holding the grenade into perhaps holding a chain with a poxwalker former marine. Chop the top off, chop the arm off. Don't worry, it was a wrecked marine I bought in a job lot of eBay. Maybe put a poxwalker skull on, a ratty poxwalker arm, something like that. Early doors, that's one of my ideas. I'll do them as I go. I mean, I might change my mind, but I like the idea of that one. So this is the unlucky guy that's going to be dragged along by the Plague Marine. He was a normal Marine using a rocket launcher, but I'm going to use the hand he was holding as if he's struggling against the chain that he's being dragged by. He'll be missing an arm, but I'll tidy that up. Unlike my Typhus one before him, I'm going to try and make it a bit less obvious. It's just a eBay mashup. So I've chopped one of the power pack balls off, drilled a hole. I'm going to try and make it look just that little bit more legit. And the wire that went to the rocket launcher, perhaps put in there, there's a missing wire, sorry about that. Like that, and then I'll reattach the edge. You know, I'm just going to try and work a bit better to make him look less like a obviously recycled marine. Not having much material to work with, I carefully use my pliers to sort of bend the plastic outwards, so it looks like the arm is torn, and it left rather nice teethy impressions in it. So when I milli put that hole, I'm hoping it looks like a proper torn off arm. So here we are after an afternoon's work. It took longer than I thought. Lots of drilling out bits of plastic, repositioning the arm, drilling out the helmet, using a small skull to put in the hole so it looks like he's pretty battered, and the chain around his neck. So when he's painted up, I'm hoping it'll look like he's a poxwalker marine being dragged along behind the death guard marine. So waiting for the glue to dry, then I'll on to be painting him. Some gone off glue. It isn't really good for gluing plastic anymore, but it's quite gooey. So spread that over there with a bit of flash that had just been peeled off drillings and shavings. Put it all together, drizzled some Army Painter red in, and we'll see how that dries later on. And here we have the finished Dave the Unfortunate Ultramarine. The paint colours were very basic, Macragge blue and then Calgar dry brush. There wasn't much I could do with the damage on the model. That was after a strip-in mess, but there was a lot of bumps, so I didn't concentrate too much on that. Just a very basic ultramarine colour scheme. But then I put my real work into this side, where we have much damage, missing part of his helmet and the skull showing underneath, a bit of his arm, nub, a missing ball bit from the jetpack and a wire hanging, power pack and a wire hanging out, and lots of damage and melty goodness. I'm really happy how he turned out. So I could probably have done a better job, but this isn't the main part of the project. It's going to be the death guard, but I put enough in to make him look decent, and he'll be being dragged along by this guy, and I'm going to convert the grenade into just like a holder, like a handle connected to a chain, dragging along the unfortunate Dave. Death guard is finished for the most part. Drilled out the gun barrel for the first time, don't usually do that. Added the oxide, I think I put too much on, I'm not too happy with how that turned out, but it's not, being the death guard you got a bit of leeway I suppose. I like the eyes and the signs, he's done. Removed the grenade head, which I will attach the modded chain to, that will be going to the grenade bit. Chopped some of the link that will then fit to the small bit just past his hand. It should fit in quite flush, and then I'm going to have them on this base. Should fit. There we go, the main models are done. I've decided to use one of those bike bases. It seemed to be just about the right size for both of the models. I'll draw around their feet so I can work on the base. I intend to use a Nurgling as a little bit of extra in the middle, and we'll go from there. I've mapped out where the figures will go, the 2 feet of the marine at the back, the blodge at the front where the plague marine will go, and the bit in between, so I can remove this horrible print press thing, whatever it is, will be a stream of Nurgle's rot, something like that. Remove the piece of plastic that's going to be the river of Nurgle's goo, slightly rotate it so you've got something to glue it on with, and then when that's dried I will fill the gaps with milliput and move on from there. Shape cut out, used to indent it slightly, pound chop filler, wait for it to dry, then we'll move on. The old classic super glue and cat litter, just around the edges. I think that's the front actually, the plague marine's going there, and the unlucky marine at the back. Stirland mud for the most part, Rhinox hide for anything that's smooth, because I'm going to add a little bit of Agrellan earth to crack the edges. Mechanicus grey for the rocks, I'll highlight it with Celestra and Dawnstone at a later date. I had a prepped skull, so I thought I'd lob that in there, and just a basic green for the bottom of the pond thing, because it's going to be covered with, what is it, Nurgle's rot anyway, and then on top of that I'll put some sort of glaze. As with all things half-arsed, while waiting to dry, I've had my attention taken by something else. So it'd be cool to have a little standalone Nurgling to go in front of the conversion, holding a bolt pistol. And then I realised that's a Dark Angel's bolt pistol, I can't have that. So a little bit of surgery, removing the hand from a bolter, and he shall be holding that in his little hand and taking the mick. Nurgle's rot base, and then I filled the indentation with this Pritt stick stuff. I've used it before, and I used a cocktail stick to just drip smaller and smaller drips of Waywatcher green on the top. Don't know how it will dry out, but it looks cool at the minute, but that's just how I did it. So clear glaze, Waywatcher green, Nurgle's rot at the bottom. For the most part, what's still waiting for drying times, I managed to finish off the little Nurgling with the bolter that he stole off the marine. Not too bad. And he'll go in front of the main piece when it's done. And here we have the finished product. Unfortunate Space Marine being dragged along by a Death Guard Marine on a bespoke base. I used some stuff from the basing sets, Agrellan earth, Sterling mud, the grass, the skull. First time using Nurgle's rot for the pool. First time using oxide, which I think I did over the top, but live and learn. But overall I'm very happy with it. Some technical stuff, drilling out the marine's helmet to put the skull in there was good. The bone arm bit sticking out is actually one of the missiles off the missile launcher marine he used to be. But yes, I'm happy with that overall. Very good. Some basing stuff. I like the glowing sign on the shoulder pad. Some more goo there. Yeah, happy with that. The drying time was ridiculous and I got bored, so not only do we have this, the unfortunate Marines bolter has been seconded by this little chap. So there we go, just as a little extra there. See if I can move that so you can zoom in. Little nurgling with the Marines bolter and the grenade. Yep, happy with that. Next will be the rest of the Lord of Contagion crew. Not zooming in there. But yeah, that took about 2-3 days. Glad to be back in on it, and I'll see you on the next vid.